Hey folks, welcome back to another TWiP Pro Community Image Critique. I'm sitting here with TWiP Pro Community member Kyle Nishioka. Kyle is based in Hawaii, and we're going to step through some of the latest submissions to the photo critique channel in the TWiP Pro community. Kyle, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Hi, Fred. Thanks for inviting me on.
You're welcome. Tell us, before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into the image critique.
Okay, so my quick bio is that I'm a civil engineer, CAD geek, and photographer. I've been shooting 2008. I got about it and about 4 or 5 years ago when I started shooting models and putting in lighting to my shots. And I've been following the show the days when David Lindsay used to host it, and I've been following it off and on as it's come and gone. But I also got interviewed by Brian Fisher on the TWiP Glam show, and that's what kind of brought me into joining the community.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. So back in the day, so you're an early member or TWiP listener. That's probably Alex. I think you're mentioning Alex Lindsay. Alex started the show. Alex and Scott Bourne started the show way back in the day, back when I was still working at Adobe, and they hoodwinked me in to come on, and I'm like a pet that you fed and never left, right? So
And then you inherited it.
I inherited it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but it was a little dilapidated when I took it over. We did a fix on it to bring it up to where it is now. But so there's lots of stuff to go through, and let's dive in. So the first image I want to discuss that came into the TWiP Pro community is from Craig Stampley. It's a red-haired woman in a yellow raincoat. So let's step through that one first. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Okay, first thing that struck me when I looked at this is that it should have been called April O'Neil, because I swear that's like her outfit from the Ninja Turtles. Every Ninja Turtle movie has put her in a yellow jumpsuit. I guess you could call it a raincoat, but that strong red hair, that really stands out to me. But yeah, I also read the biography, or at least the caption on this photo, where all those paintings in the back are also her work. And it does kind of distract me, because after I noticed that it was April O'Neil, you see Ariel in the background, and you can't see it in this image, but he says that he has a picture of poison ivy behind her, directly behind her head, and for me, it's distracting too much from away from the model, which I think should be more of the focus of this image. But if it's something that she wanted to, I assume she wanted to show her own work in the photo along with her. That's something that she would have wanted to kept kind of highlighted the way it was.
Yeah, yeah. This is interesting. So I think looking at this image, I love the expression on her face. So that's I think the main thing. I had to look at it for a couple of minutes because I was thinking, okay, what is what's the intent of this image? So then looking at it closer, I'm looking at her. She's red haired, obviously. Ariel in the background is also red haired. If you want to call that red, and they're looking in opposite directions. So there's obviously a play on each other. I love that part of it. The distracting piece of it for me, I think, is the flower on the wall behind her. So maybe behind the main model. So I was thinking maybe if he had shifted the angle a little bit to have you know less of the flower or the flower less in focus. I don't know, just something so that the flower is not growing out of the back of her head because that distracts me a little bit. But other than that, I mean, I love the expression on her face. I love the red hair. I think this is a red haired themed show today, as people will see as we progress through these. But yeah, other than that, it's actually really cool. It's interesting. I love the play on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love the expression on her face, and it would have been a great standalone portrait, but putting the work behind her, that just takes it down a little bit, but not enough to make it a bad photo. It's still a great shot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's that's a borderline Mona Lisa smile that she's got going on there, right?
Mm, right.
All right, let's move on to the next photo here. And this one is from Houston, another TWiP Pro member. And this one is a train with a red haired woman on the front of it in a kind of a precarious position. What do you think of this one?
Sorry, it's kind of faded out there, but yeah, I love this composite. And I love the way that this was put together. The motion blur in the foreground, and along with the motion blur in the wheels, really give a sense of speed into the train. But contrasted with that, you just know that there's no model that would willingly put herself in that dangerous of a situation by being on top of a moving train. So in my mind, that instantly says that it's got to be a composite, but it's a very good composite, very well put together. Anything technically uh, that would suggest, which is a flawless execution of a concept that no one in their mind would try in real life. But
Yeah.
that's what I like about this image. The one thing that kind of makes or not shatters the illusion, but the smokestack coming out of the train does not appear to be moving as fast as the rest of the train would imply. It's kind of like a slow moving train, or at least the smoke trail behind it is not blurred the way that the foreground is blurred. So it doesn't really convey that sense of motion.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree with you on that, and that is that's one of the tricks, right? Especially when you're compositing things that are in motion, is matching the motion, I think. And you can kind of tell that what he was going for in the foreground of the image, the blurring of the grass, and then the blurring of the struts, or whatever you call those things that are moving the wheels of the train, and then the lack of blur on the background, which is what you would see in real life. But you're right, the smokestack would be much more distorted, especially compared to how her hair and dress are blowing. The smoke would be a lot more distorted than that. And I'd also like to see a little bit more contrast between the smoke coming out of the train and the clouds in the background to make the train sort of pop out a little bit more. Other than that, excellent job, Craig Sanfley. Oh no,
Although
actually no, this
one,
was Houston.
one
This was Houston. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could have one more thing from the creator on this, I did have a question of what's the beast in the picture, because he titled this Beauty and the Beast.
I would say that train is the beast. That train has got to
Yeah.
be the beast. Yeah, she's the beauty. The train is the beast. That would be my guess. All right, so let's move on to the next one. The next one is from, this one was just uploaded by Photo Steve, and it looks like it's a staircase. Look at that. Beautiful. I'll let you go first. What do you think of this one?
I think it's a cool. When I first saw this, I was a little bit thrown off because it might have been an optical illusion or just my brain working in overdrive, because I couldn't tell if he was shooting down from above or if there was, shooting a staircase from above or from below, because the lighting, I can tell from the way that the supports on the center, what's that called, spire, is holding it, so he's shooting from below. But if not for that, this could have been taken from above looking down on a
Yeah.
staircase descending instead of a staircase ascending. So I did like that little mental trip that he took me on there. And beyond that, I think it's a very simple architectural image. I think it's a great one, but without that one little not gimmick, but one little gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really think of much else to say about this photo.
Yeah, I good comments. My comments on this one was I love this one. So this one passes the would you frame this and put it in your house test. Big, right? And it looks like modern art to me. Like I'm not looking at it from the standpoint of like looking at it as a consumer of art. I love the geometric shapes in there, the spiral, and and the harsh lighting or the contrasty lighting, and the choice of doing it in black and white makes a lot of sense to me. So this looks like art that I want to hang in a series of similar photos in my living room. So I don't have much negative to say about this, or much critique to say about it. It's awesome. I want to see, like in the future, like what my brain goes to is that void in the kind of the left side there, the darkness. I'm like, what is in there? What's up there? Like it could be anything up there. Like you said, if you're looking up, there could be stars. That could be the sky. Or if you're looking down, that could be into like a pit of despair or something. So I don't know. I like it. It's a cool shot. Very cool. And that's from Photo Steve. Thanks, Photo Steve, for submitting that. He calls that Lighthouse Stairs. All right, the last image that we're going to go through is from Tim Engel. Tim is well known in Sacramento and beyond for shooting models and and attractive people, and he continues a trend with this intimidating guy. There's Tim. Well, that's not Tim Engel, but that is a shot that Tim Engel did. So I'll start with my critique on this one. First of all, this one is intimidating to me, as I said, in TWiP PRO, because I don't look like that. I wish I could one day look like that. I probably missed my window. But I'm looking at this one. This is like a straight on portrait, right? So looking at and putting on my the hat of like, okay, let's critique this from a contest standpoint. I like the expression on his face, because it's like, okay, what are you thinking, what are you looking at, kind of that tough guy look. But then I look down and I'm like, okay, what's going on with the arms? Because I lose it at the arms. I'm like, I want to see if I'm going to see his arms or one arm kind of going to the left that way. Maybe I want to see a little bit of his hands to see what he was doing, or maybe none at all, or something, because it's something down there, because it's cut right there is losing me. So I don't know. That's the one kind of compositional thing that gets me. I love the light. I love the processing. Tim Engel's a master at exposure and all this stuff, so all that's flawless. Obviously, it's just the pose that kind of gets me. Maybe if he was turned a little bit at an angle towards the camera rather than straight on, I would have maybe circumvented that a little bit. I don't know, Kyle. What do you think?
So this is one of those dichotomies that threw me for a loop, but I like it. Overall, it's a very strong portrait. What the things that you were mentioning about how his hand is kind of crossing his body on the bottom. This is a feminine pose. I mean, I've seen models. I think I've shot models doing this exact same pose, and it looks totally different when the guy's doing it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He has his head tilted just a little bit to. Looks like it's his lower shoulder, kind of like a very ephemerate or uh, feminine type of a pose. Not something that you would see of a strong, tough guy, which is the rest of his body. Certainly implies that it's meant to be almost like a boxer, and that's not the typical pose that an athlete would take. Right?
True.
They
Yeah.
would want to show their fists up or something to show that they're tough, but he doesn't have to do that. He can do this totally relaxed pose, and it still pays off. It does represent him very well.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if I was this guy, I'd want to, I'd want this shot if that was me and this was a shot of me. The chat room is saying Hassan Dabani's in there. He says skin tones on the face look different than on the body, maybe through editing. Do you see that? I guess so. Yeah, a little bit. But that might be reality, though, because, your face tends to get, for a lot of people, your face tends to get a little darker because it's not covered, right? And it's exposed to the sun, so it gets a little darker than the rest of your body unless you're running around shirtless all the time. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it could also just be not trick of the lighting, but just something that comes out of being lit. I'm guessing it's almost directly over his head, and he has a fill light on, or probably a bounce card on the bottom left. So that's kind of why it's looks different from his head, which would be closer to the light source than his chest would be, I guess, a little closer to the bounce card, but not heavily so.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, interesting. Good submissions today. Good submissions. I love the. I want to go back to one of these images actually, and this one again. So the train. I don't know why my brain. Maybe because I like compositing. I don't know why my brain keeps going back to this image for some reason. I think because there's so much going on in here that it's. I'm trying to pick it apart because it's weird. I mean, you could see this, Kyle, as you like when I invited you to come on to do the critique. You have to look at these images differently than if you're just going to look at it casually and passively and not have a comment, right? You have to look at it objectively and as a photographer and kind of feel through how would you give feedback, if any, to peers about this particular image. So I keep coming back to this, and I keep coming back to thinking like, okay, if I had attempted this composite, what would I've done? So yeah, I agree with the smoke for sure, but I was thinking last night, man, the blue of the clouds back there, maybe I
Hmm.
would have toned those back a little bit to add a little more contrast to it, like tone the color back and add a little bit more contrast so they pop more. And then those look like storm clouds back there. Like maybe it was some storm, like some lightning bolts or something back there, on the horizon. Might have been kind of cool. I don't know. I'm reaching, and I hate, like, I'm editing other people's work live, so like that's not fair. But I'm just saying this is a really cool image, and it goes great. Like I say, it goes great in the redhead theme that we were doing before. So
Oh
cool,
yeah,
man.
so yeah, the clouds do look like it's raining just on the horizon. And if you wanted to, I guess, increase the drama of the photo, a tighter crop where you eliminate all the green or all the, I guess, grass in front of the on the lower bottom portion of the picture, and just crop from where the train tracks are, and then crop the top as well, make it look like a panorama to really emphasize the motion, the left to right motion. That would make it much more dramatic because that cloud in the background, it does it is interesting, although because yeah, the woman dead center in the shot is much more interesting. You don't really pay attention to it.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot going on in this shot. It's very cool though. Cool, man. Well, thank you for coming on and doing this TWiP Pro critique with me. I know it's what time is it in Hawaii as we record this? It's 9:30 here in California. What time is it there? Oh, it's not too early. It's not too early. It's kind of early, but not that early. All right, Kyle Nishioka, where can people go to check out some of the work that you're doing, other than
Well,
in the TWiP Pro community?
yeah, everything can be found from my website, kylenishioka.com. That's probably the
KyleNishioka.com. All
yeah.
right, awesome. All right, thank you, sir, and we'll see you. I'll see you in the TWiP Pro community, man. Thanks a lot, and thanks again for joining. I appreciate it. All right. All right, folks, and TWiP Pro members and other folks that are watching this, thanks for sitting in on this critique session with us. It was fun. And TWiP Pro members, remember to submit your photos to the hashtag or to the photo critique channel in TWiP Pro if you'd like us to review your images on an upcoming episode. And with that, it's time to take that lens cap off. Peace.